Okay. So now let's just do the last chapter, which is your this development experience of India. So first of all, you will write the syllabus development experience of India, a comparison with neighbors India and Pakistan, India and China, and issues economic growth, population, sectoral development, and other human development indicators. This is the syllabus. Then we'll start with the chapter. Okay. Okay, students, are you done writing the syllabus? Yes, no. Okay, so let's just start with the chapter. Okay. Our chapter is comparative development experience of India and its neighbor. So over here, we'll be comparing the India and its neighbor. Okay, so let's just see one by one. So first of all, in this chapter, we are going to compare the three countries, India, China, and Pakistan. Okay, so let's just see what is the comparison and what are the similarities. So now the questions comes, why we are comparing only these three countries? Why not other countries? So there are some similarities in these countries. That's why only we are comparing. So let's just see. So development path, a snapshot view. India, China, and Pakistan have similarities in their development strategies. All the three nations started towards the development path at the same time. While India and Pakistan became independent nations in 1947, People Republic of China was established in 1949. So India and Pakistan, they got independence somewhere same on same day. And China was established in 1949. So it was also around. Then second, all the three countries had started planning their development strategies in similar way, right? So their development strategy was somewhere same. Like India announced 5-year plan in 1951. Pakistan announced its 5-year plan. Now it is known as Medium Term Development Plan in 1956, and China started its first 5-year plan in 1953. So again, you can say that somewhere near about they all started the 5-year plan in their own country. Then India and Pakistan adopted similar strategies such as creating a large public sector and raising public expenditure on social development. So India and Pakistan, they adopted the similar strategy for creating large public sector and raising the public expenditure of social development. Then till the 1980s, all the three countries had similar growth rate and per capita income. So till 1980s, all the three countries, they have similar growth rate as well as their per capita income is also somewhere similar. So this is what. So that's why we are comparing all these three countries. So first of all, you will write the chapter name, and after that you will write India, China, Pakistan have similarities in their development strategies. Then all these 4 points. Okay.
Good, ma'am.
Okay, so let's just start with the next topic, which is historical path of development policies in China. Okay, so after the establishment of People's Republic of China under one-party rule, all critical sector of the economy, enterprises and land owned and operated by individuals were brought under government control. Okay, so this is what happened in China basically. Once China Republic was established, this is what they did. Like what they did basically, like all they did, they started like owning the all the properties, and individual properties were bought under government control, right? That nobody will be having their own public or like something. They will be, everything will be under government control. Okay, now the next one, the Great Leap Forward GLF campaign was initiated in 1958, which was whose main aim was to industrialize the whole country, right? So first thing what they did, they bought everything under government control. Second thing, they introduced GLF, which is Great Leap Forward, right? And then they aimed at industrializing the everything. Now for this, what they did, it was compulsory in the urban area to have industries in the backyard, right? And in rural areas, you have the commune system. Commune system means that you have a community land, and over there, everyone will be doing the cultivation, right? So this is greatly forward. So sometimes if they are asking you what are the historical path of development policy, then you will write all this thing. But sometimes they give you one marker or two marker question. What like what do you understand by great leap forward? So at that time you have to explain this greatly. Okay, but this GLF campaign met with many problems. Many problem means, first of all, there was a severe dot. Because of this, 30 million people were killed. Second, Russia and China, they had a fight. Okay, and over there what happened in this fight, usually what happened, for example, I'm teaching you, you and I had a fight, then I will say that I will not teach you anymore, right? So similarly what was happening, China was developing, so Russia was helping the China in the growth. Russia has sent many people to China who were helping China to grow. But unfortunately, when they had a fight, Russia withdrew all the profession who had earlier been sent to China to help in industrialization process. This is what happened. Okay, and what happened now after this, because all this thing was going on, so now China introduced a policy, like China introduced a revolution, which is this great proletarian cultural revolution, under which student and professor were sent to work and learn from the countryside. Now over there what is happening, China was sending its students to different countries, and they were learning there and coming back and teaching the people of China. This was the policy which is known as great proletarian cultural revolution. Clear? So first of all, you will write this historical path policies, this, then till here, the first point will be here. Okay, first point. And then the second point will be from here till here. Okay. Then the third point, you will make another hashtag, and you will write hashtag GLF campaign met with many problems. Or just write hashtag what are the problems GLF faced. So these two problems, and then you will write again a new hashtag. Then you will write what is great proletarian cultural revolution. Then you will write this. Clear? I hope I have made myself clear. Yes?
Yes,
No?
ma'am.
Oh.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's just start with the next. Next question is, what is the China present rapid like whatever China is today, like as comparison of three countries, all the three countries, China is on top. So what is the reason? So China's present rapid industrial growth can be traced back to its reform. So whatever China is today, right? It is due to the reform in 1978. Okay, so that's why let's just see what is the China's present rapid industrial growth. So initially, see, if you are a topper, right? Why you are a topper? Because of the hard work you pour in the previous year, right? So similarly, whatever China is today is due to the reform which is introduced in 1978. First, the initial phase. So reform were initiated in the agriculture, foreign trade, and investment sector. For example, in agriculture, commune lands were divided into small plots which were allotted to individual household. They were allowed to keep all income from the land and after paying spiritual taxes, right? So over here, China first introduced the industrial growth initial phase. In this, they started with the agriculture sector. Over there, every household was getting an area, and there that was the area was divided into plots. So every plot belongs to an individual household, right? And there it was like you have to grow everything over there, and whatever you will be getting from that plot, you will be keeping it, but yeah, you have to pay the tax, right? So this is what they did in the initial phase. And coming to the second phase, this later on phases, what they did basically this. First of all, private sector in the second phase they focused on the industry sector, not on the agriculture sector. So private sectors in general in the township of village and enterprises in particular were allowed to produce goods. So over here, private sector, township, village enterprises, they were allowed to have the industries and all that. They were allowed to have to produce goods. And over here, like over here at this stage, the enterprises owned by government, which is known as this, they were in the market, which were like they were like everything was under government control, but they were open to the competition. That okay, if private sector wants to engage in this, we are open. Then next over here, the reformer process in the dual pricing. Sometimes they ask you what is dual pricing. This means you will fix a price that okay, if you are producing 10 chocolate, out of these 10 chocolates, 6 chocolate you will sell in 10 rupees, and rest 4 chocolate you can sell according to your needs. This is dual pricing, right? And next, over the year the production increase and the proportion of goods also increase, because production will increase, so good and everything will be improved. Then in order to attract the foreign investment in China, special economic zones were made. Special economic zones means over here you will be trading only, like these are the areas where you can do foreign investment, right? So these were the reasons, because of this China is where it is now, right? So you will write this. China's present rapid industrial growth can be traced back to its reform in 1978. Then China introduced this initial phase and the later on phase.
Ma'am, please can you scroll it down?